and we had some of the highest flow rates recorded ever in Salta province. The average flow rate in Salta runs between 6 and 10 liters per second. We use 22 liters per second in our 43101, even though we tested 50 liters per second from that well. So it's a monster well.
Hello, welcome to Assay TV. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Steve Cochrane, who is President and CEO of Lithium Chile. Lithium Chile are focused on an extensive package of land in the Lithium Triangle, which comprises Argentina and Chile and Bolivia. But Steve, hello, welcome to Assay TV. Joining us there from your beautiful Salar over there in Chile. As I mentioned, you're in the heart of the Lithium Triangle. Your project's in Chile and Argentina, correct?
Exactly, and I thought that's the first differentiator. We're one of the only juniors I'm aware of that have projects both in Chile. We, of course, have our 12 exploration projects in Chile, but we also have a resource development project in Argentina. So you have to go see the big guys before you can really find a company that's diversified geopolitically, geographically, like we are.
I mean, if you could start things off with a little sort of overview of the company. I mean, you've got a very extensive land package there. Tell us a little bit about that, but also your sort of technical expertise. You've got some geologists on the ground there who I believe, know the land very well.
First off, I'm extremely proud of our team, both in Chile and in Argentina. I don't think we'd be where we were today without their expertise and dedication. But yes, we are proud to have a large land portfolio in Chile, 12 projects, all very prospective lithium brine plays, but still at the exploration stage. Totals 84,000 hectares in Chile, but the big takeaway is that we amassed those properties by purely through staking. So our average acquisition cost in Chile is about $3 a hectare. And right now in Chile, projects are going for upwards of 2,500 US per hectare. So not only do we have a very large exploration package in Chile, but our acquisition cost is very, very nominal. So that sets us apart. In Argentina, it's really what I think has transformed our company in the last year. And that was our initial discovery we announced in February of 1.4 million metric tons from one hole on our Salar de Arizaro project in Argentina. So we have that nice combination now of a great exploration portfolio, but we're also a resource development company as well. And that sets us in a unique position.
Mm-hmm. I mean, let's look at Arizarro. You said, as you mentioned, you got that maiden resource out. And what are the sort of prospects for resource expansion there?
Well, we're focused on that right now. As you may have seen in our recent press releases, in June, we launched our development program to prove that that resource is much larger than the 1,420,000 tons we initially announced. And to do that, we've got 4 diamond drill holes planned, really designed to give us data, sample grades, porosity, location of the aquifer. But we also have a very large rotary rig capable of drilling to 800 meters that's going to be drilling 3 production holes. Concurrent with the drilling of these production holes, we're also doing an environmental impact study to allow us to put 3 5,000 metric ton production facilities on each one of these wells. So we think we're in a really good position to not only advance the project, but prove it's much larger than that initial 1.4 million metric tons. One of the things I should point out here is that that 1.4 million on the first hole is one of the more significant discoveries in Salta Province, Argentina, in recent times, and that's because of obviously the grade, We had an average of 298 we used in our 43-101 report, but we did have intersections where we sampled grades as high as 550 milligrams. So in this current program, it's designed to isolate those lower high-grade brine zones and see if we can't just raise the overall grade of the project, which I believe we can. That, of course, will add tonnage to our initial resource and subsequent resources. But the other big takeaway from Arizarro, when you look at a resource, it's a function of two things: grade, obviously, but flow rate, the amount of volume, the volume of fluids you can actually pump out of that formation. And we had some of the highest flow rates recorded ever in Salta province. The average flow rate in Salta runs between 6 and 10 liters per second. We use 22 liters per second in our 43-101, even though we tested 50 liters per second from that well. So it's a monster well.
Absolutely. And you've released some results from your phase 2 exploration there, your first hole. And as you mentioned, the grade for your resource was what, 298 milligrams per liter. This new hole, what are you getting in that one?
Well, we're using a TurboSpec analyzer. It's a well accepted field unit that allows us to sample the brines as we take them out of the well bore. Of course, you have to send it out to the lab for official results. But what we're finding when we look at the official results versus what we're seeing on the TurboSpec, not only is the TurboSpec very accurate, it tends to be on the low side. The numbers it reports tend to be on the low side. And what we're seeing from the initial diamond drill and production well that we're currently drilling, we had grades 340, 350. So, 14 to 15% higher than what we used in our initial 43-101. So, of course, we'll rely strictly on the lab reports and sample grades, but it's encouraging, knowing the accuracy of this unit, that we're seeing these kind of lithium grades in that first production well.
And so what's the status? You were aiming for 4 holes, I believe, and you've completed, is it 2 of them, and you're on to hole 3? Is that right?
3 have been completed, the diamond drill holes. The rig will move to the 4th location, I believe, as we speak. The actual production well is at 470 meters currently, with a 8.5-inch bore. The drillers currently are widening now that to 13.5 inches. We would like to drill an 18-inch hole, that initial production hole, that would accommodate a 16-inch downhole pump. So again, we are developing it as a future production well. So they're currently widening the hole to 13.5 inches.
So what are the next steps for the project beyond that? Is there sort of local infrastructure you can tap into as well as you develop the project?
Well, there's no question we've got a lot of interested parties watching what we're doing in Arizarro. Just the potential, the size, 23,000 hectares, the potential of a 4 to 5 million ton resource with these development wells has got a lot of parties interested in that project. As you know, we already have a significant strategic investor in Chenxing Lithium. Chenxing is the second largest lithium carbonate processing company in China. They stepped up in May of this year and took 19.9% of Lithium Chile for $34 million. So that's the second thing that kind of sets us apart amongst our peers, is the fact we have a very strong balance sheet. With their investment plus the capital we had, we're currently sitting on around 42 million in cash. Sets us apart. I mean, there are probably a lot of juniors out there right now in this market that wish they had that kind of capital. So Chenxing's not only a great partner because of their capital strength, but being the second largest lithium processors in China, they bring a lot of expertise to the table. So they're actually running a test for us right now. They're doing some direct lithium extraction tests. We have pumped from our first hole that we announced. We've recently extracted 2,000 liters. that we've sent some to China for metallurgical and DLE studies. We're doing our own metallurgical studies to understand the chemistry of the brines, which will be important when you come to a production decision. So we're really moving the project forward to become a producing property, although we do think, before we get to that stage, we will have some potentially interested suitors, as we already have one right now with 19.9%. So great project. We have power about 35 kilometers away. The first quantum Taka Taka mine is going in. They're investing $1.4 billion in the copper mine. They've run power there. We've got a road that runs right through our property, which by Salar standards, by these high alpine roads, it's in very good shape. And the train that runs from Salta into Chile is about 25 kilometers away from our property. So the infrastructure is all there. Now we just have to prove the resources there.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some of your other projects. You've got quite a few other ones, but Salar de Coipasa, tell us about that.
One of my favorites, my personal favorite. I think it's one of our flagship projects in Chile, no question. And the principal reason is the fact it's the second largest salar in all of South America. 80% of the basin is on the Bolivian side. We basically control 65% of the basin on the Chilean side. So we're the major player on the Chilean side of this salar. We've also taken the largest, the biggest lithium sample we've ever recorded on any of our sampling programs throughout Chile. We had a 2-meter auger sample that came back at 1,410 milligrams per liter of lithium, which is an outstanding grade by any standard, right? So we're encouraged there. We're encouraged by what we see on the property geophysically. Beautiful anomaly, highly conductive, starts about 125 to 150 meters below surface. And at 500 meters, it was still open. So it's a very thick target, good grades. But the final reason that I think this is an exciting project for us is that on the Bolivian side, in 2019, a Chinese company called Xinjiang TBA Group came in and announced a deal that they were joint venturing with the Bolivian government to develop the Bolivian side of Coipasa. And they were prepared to invest up to 1.4 billion US in return for a 49% stake in the Bolivian side of that same salar. So if they're valuing the Bolivian side at $3 billion US, I think by comparison, we're cheap because we control 65% of the Chilean side of the basin. So the fact that they're prepared to commit that kind of funds, again, just reinforces we think this could be a great target for us.
And you also exploration plans for that?
We're currently negotiating. We've engaged the top environmental community law firm in Chile, and they've been doing the initial groundwork to prepare the negotiations with the local indigenous community there. Of course, like anywhere, you need the support, and we want the support of the local indigenous communities. So that would be our next step, where we bring them in as partners, that they see the benefit to developing this jointly, and that project is underway right now.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you've got a lot of exciting projects there, and but some and well funded to move them forward. But thank you very much for that whistle-stop tour of Lithium Chile there, Steve. And do come back and tell us more about it as the projects develop.
Absolutely, I look forward to it. And just to wrap up, we're very excited. We think we've got a real find on our hands here, and with Chile now becoming very popular, as you may be aware, the constitutional vote that had everybody concerned got soundly rejected, 62% no. So all of a sudden, some of the concern and hesitation with respect to Chile has gone. So we're now seeing a lot of interest from some very, very major companies getting back into Chile. So with the two countries, the two projects we have, the two programs, we're very well positioned to take advantage of the current strength in the lithium market.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Exciting time to be in lithium. Steve
Excellent.
Cochrane, thanks.
Thanks.